Hey guys, Horrorman back for another review. So today we're going to take a look at the brand new Gremlins Mohawk Gremlin figure. Now this is made by NECA Toys and it's part of their ongoing Gremlins line that they've had for years now. Now the packaging is basically what we've seen for most of the Gremlins line aside from the Ultimate figures and some of the box sets. But it is a very large blister package. Now, of course, you do have to cut this open, so you'll ruin the package after you do that. But just taking a look at the artwork here, you do have a little picture of Mohawk Gremlin from the movie. You can see the figures clearly displayed. Got this cool, like, Uzi machine gun. And then if you turn over to the back, you see this really cool picture of the actual figure holding the gun. You got the NECA logo at the top, Gremlins, Real Toys. And then it also says, different figure that's also available currently. And this is actually the Ultimate Gizmo figure. And then it just says Ultimate Gizmo Deluxe figure there. And then onto the bottom of the packaging, you can see just different credits for NECA and, of course, Warner Brothers, Gremlins, and everything else. So pretty cool figure. This is one that a lot of people have been really asking about. They made a Mohawk Gremlin from like the Spider Gremlin design before. That was the last time we've really seen him. But they recently put out a video game version. And of course, when they do those 8-bit style game figures, you just assume you'll see a regular color version soon. So that's what we have here. So let's go ahead and get this out of the package, get a closer look. Alright, so here is the Mohawk Gremlin outside of the packaging. And I think they've done a really good job with this figure. You could definitely see a lot of that detail on there with the scaling and different spots and all those different details that really make the NECA Gremlins line so good. Very authentic to the movie. There's just so much paint deco going on here that you really have to see the figure in person to really appreciate. But overall, this figure just looks outstanding just from the first impressions of it. I love the colors. It almost has like a fish type of quality to it, the way they've done the Mohawk and the different spots and like the shiny, and the textures. Just, it's overall really good. So let's just get a close-up of that head sculpt. Alright, so getting a close-up of that head sculpt, again, you can see that amazing detail all over here with different various different colors and different textures and like the shine. It really brings out the whole look of this figure. I really like the gums. You got this really like shiny gums here. You can see the different teeth and they're kind of jagged. He actually does have a hinged jaw, which is like one of the best things about this figure. I really like that. So you can do a closed mouth or you could just do the open mouth. And you could see just all those different details even inside of the mouth, tongue, just so many details going in here. The eyes look fantastic. Yeah, just overall really good details. I really like this Mohawk, and it does have a little bit of softer, texture to it, so it's not real hard. It's not going to crack or break or anything. So this feels like a very nice, sturdy figure all around. And of course, you got the Gremlin ears. And then you can see how the Mohawk does continue through the back. And then he's got all these different spikes on him. So yeah, overall, I mean, really great looking head sculpt, and I really like how they've done, the hinged jaw and the Mohawk. I mean, it just looks fantastic. All right, and just looking at the rest of the figure, again, there's like little spots and different textures and designs all continue through to the arms, and then you have all these different designs on the sides. I mean, it's just so much going on here. But yeah, you got this like harder texture like on the legs, and you even have these like little spikes and things like that. But then when you get to the belly, you just have this kind of like smooth, you know, just glossy finish. You can see there is like sculpting in here, but they don't have like texture like they do on the legs and arms. So yeah, you just have this kind of clash of different textures and different spots and different scales. It's really, it's great work. And I like how they've done the paint on the individual nails here. So it didn't miss anything. Even got this like back one. And then even the hands, you know, they painted the nails on those. Yeah, so overall, just really, really nice detail all around in this. And it's hard to capture everything, so I'm trying to get as much as I can. But there's so much going on with this body. It's amazing what they've done here. And you can kind of separate the nails or the fingers a little bit. They don't have like articulation on them, but if you heat them up a little bit, they would probably separate more. When I got it, they were squished a little bit together, but I've got them to kind of separate just a bit. And I like this little elbow piece here too. It kind of reminds me of the Mohawk. So yeah, just great all around detail on this Mohawk figure. All right, so you get some articulation, but not quite as much articulation in the head as you do with like the Mogwai, but you do get more articulation in the body, which is nice. So as far as the head, you can rotate pretty good. You know, you can look up pretty good here. You can look down about that far. He can turn his head, you know, tilt his head side to side pretty well. The actual ears don't have that articulation like you do with the Mogwai. If you heat them up, you might be able to bend them a little bit, but I wouldn't even recommend it. But yeah, he can look up pretty good. And you can see the different articulation here. You actually have a ball in the middle here, so you can get some head tilt, and you can also get, you know, full range with that joint there. The arms can go out pretty far, about that, and he's got a huge reach. Go down all the way almost. They can go up about that high. You can't even see how high. There you go. About that high. The ears do get in the way a little bit. And they can go back all the way. So full rotation there. You do get a single hinged elbow joint. And then you do get the joint at the hand or the wrist. So you can cradle the hand pretty good. And then you can get a twist on there. All right, so pretty good range in the arms. I don't think there's anything in the actual waist. I thought there was a cut here, but it doesn't look like there is any articulation there. He can move his legs at about that much. You have a little bit of swivel. He can bend. He has the single jointed knee. And then you do have some ankle pivot here. And then you can go up and down decently. You can't go down much farther than just flat, but you can move it up. All right, and that's about it for articulation. So pretty good for something so big. Oh, and of course, yeah, you do get the, like I said before, you get the hinge jaw. And that's a little bit loose on here. So I've kind of like had to play with this to really get it to stay shut. So it's not the best, and I think it's just because he's such a heavy figure that it just happens to fall sometimes. But yeah, the jaw can stay shut. Now you only get one accessory here, and that is this black Uzi, and it does seem to hold it pretty well. You can even get the finger into the trigger. So yeah, he looks pretty good with it, and I like the scale. The gun's pretty big. So yeah, it does fit him just right. And you can see the details are pretty good here, just some different sculpted details going on. And the gun itself, it's shaped pretty well, and I do like that it's a harder, you know, plastic. It doesn't really have much flexibility at all, so it doesn't get like all warped in the package. It's not perfect, but it's pretty good, and I think they've done a really good job with designing this. Alright, so getting Mohawk to hold this gun is fairly easy. He's got these big hands. So yeah, you just put this into the trigger hand, and then that trigger finger should fit right in front of the actual trigger. And he just holds it. You can hold it with one hand if you want. In the picture, it kind of shows him holding it with kind of both hands. So he just cradles the front of the Uzi with the left hand. So yeah, he holds it pretty good, and he seems to stand fairly well with it. For the first comparison, here is the Mohawk next to a couple of the Mogwais from the NECA Toys series. And you can see for the most part they do seem to be in decent scale together. And here he is next to the Home Alone Kevin figure and the Jason Voorhees figure, and those are both from the Mego NECA Toys line. And even though these are bigger scale than the regular NECA figures, they don't seem to be in scale with Mohawk. And here he is next to the Freddy and Jason NECA Toys from the 7-inch scale line, and again, yeah, definitely not in scale. And here he is next to the Bat Gremlin, also made by NECA Toys. Alright, and for the final comparison, here he is next to the classic Sideshow Toys Boris Karloff Frankenstein figure. Alright, so that's my review of the NECA Toys Gremlins Mohawk Gremlin. And overall, I think it's a fantastic figure. If you've been collecting the line, I'd highly recommend this one. This is the main bad guy, and of course, you got to own the bad guys for every line of figures out there. Yeah, I really like the detail in this. I think the coloring is just top notch. The details and the sculpting is just, it's really good. And Gremlins has been a line that NECA has done for so long, and they've perfected it. If there's any real issue with the Gremlins line is they don't make enough, especially enough of the actual Gremlins. We've seen a lot of Mogwai in the last few years, so it is cool to see that they're making these like, big villain versions of the Gremlins. The Bat Gremlin was a nice touch, and I really like this Mohawk Gremlin. I definitely like it more than the Nintendo variation they did, and I think this is the one that people have really been waiting for a long time. NECA's actually done a lot of different Gremlins that unfortunately have not released to date. So hopefully the sales of this Mohawk Gremlin will be good enough to justify even more NECA Gremlins to come in the future. I know a lot of people have been hoping to get like Greta and some of the other Gremlins that they've never seen in figure form. So hopefully, like I said, the sales of this will definitely help, and Ultimate Gizmo, the sales of that could help very well. Christmas might have cleared out some inventory, but you should be able to get it from NECA's eBay or Amazon. Some stores like Big Bad and Entertainment Earth should have it in stock, and of course Toys R Us. And you can expect to pay about $25 for it. So thanks for watching my review. Please like it, please subscribe, leave a comment or question if you have one. And until next time, guys, see ya.